So here's what I propose, Malice by John Gwynne. I am going to read this book next month. I'm finally going to read it, and it's probably going to be my new favorite book. I'm reading this for Medieval-a-thon, and if any of you want to read it with me, we can ruin our main TBRs and only read this beast because that's what I'm going to do.
All we want is Holly to review Malice. She still hasn't done it. Like, we're waiting. She keeps saying she's gonna do it, and she hasn't.
Girl, it's been so long. I'm starting to think you had no real intentions of posting your review for Malice. Tell us the truth.
Kidding me, right, Holly? You still haven't read this.
Days turn to months. Months turn to years. How long must we keep waiting? And waiting. I convinced her to read Half a King. I thought maybe I could convince her to read this too. All of her fans want it. I've seen the comments. I've seen the monthly TBR videos. Every month is the month. But it was just lies. Lie after lie. When will she read that book? When will she finally read Malice?
So this wasn't ever a video that I wanted to make. I wasn't sure if I should even talk about it or even bring it up. I ultimately decided to do it because I need to apologize. I messed up and it's totally on me. I'm constantly growing on this platform and trying to better myself as a person and as a reader. So to make a blunder like this, to make a mistake this grand, I should have just hung up my booktuber hat, all of you eagerly waiting for me to read it for a whole 2 years. It was like I cast my fishing pole out into the sea and all my viewers were the fish hopelessly nibbling on my hook. My review never came. It never came. I still hadn't read it. But ladies and gentlemen, I've read it! And this video is sponsored by John Gwynne. I'm just kidding, that's not a thing. I mean, an interview would be cool. Joe Abercrombie wants nothing to do with me. After all of these years, to finally say an author has Joe Abercrombie sweating, it's a miracle. He's my all-time favorite author, we all know it, but there's a new author in Booktown, and if I had room on this shelf to display John Gwynne's books, I would faster than me running to the nearest book sale. So I knew this was going to be an amazing book. I knew it when I added it to my TBR years ago, and I have a weird habit to not pick up those books. I don't know what it is. I see something shiny and new, and I gravitate toward it. My boyfriend of 12 years, you better watch out, boy. I am always a sucker for a good epic fantasy story, and Malice promised to be one. I feel so bad for neglecting you for so long, but we are here now. The synopsis already pays well into the epic fantasy, and with mentioning a coming-of-age tale, I knew that this book was going to be a treat. Reading Malice is kind of like drinking fine wine. You can't rush, gulp, or down the whole bottle at once. You gotta savor it, which is why it took me 2 weeks to finish. Or should I say 2 years? It's actually very similar to the Blade itself, which is right here, where it really feels like a prologue for what's truly to come. Everything I am talking about in today's video is spoiler-free, by the way, like everything is on this channel, so don't be afraid to subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up for me to show that you are proud of me. I finally did it! So one of the things I loved most about this book is its style, and that's a word that's pretty thrown out around the universe a lot, but style kind of oozes in every aspect of this book, from the world to the artwork, the presentation, and even the writing in general, and it all makes me want to read it more. And the amount of dogs in this book is already a winner. But where are all the cats, bro? You love me, don't you? So as soon as you open the book, you are greeted with a short narration about the past of the Banished Lands, which there's an awesome map of right here. And in this world, peace has been more of the exception than the rule. Humans have clashed countless times with giants, and battles have been won and lost. This history has shaped the Banished Lands, but a war is brewing again, and one king seeks to unite everyone to lead men into battle one last time. But only if it were that easy. So this beginning really did cast a dark spell on the story that continues all throughout, and it really helped to produce the right mood for this book, especially as the story continues and nears its end. It becomes darker and darker. Gotta be honest, the ending is like Red Wedding Game of Thrones style. Keep your heart close, that's all I'm saying. And I've been told countless times that it's only gonna get worse. Thanks guys, I'm really looking forward to it. Soon after the introduction is over, you are thrown in the depths of an immense character cast, and you start to follow 6 storylines. Now, I can totally see why people would find it confusing with all of the kingdoms and kings, queens, counselors, knights, stable boys. Every high nobility character of every single kingdom has a shieldman, a battle chief, a first sword, and children and their children's children. The names were like trying to learn the names of an entire army. I grew a big brain reading this, and writing each new character that I came across down in this notebook helped so freaking much, and when a character died, they got their name crossed out. This is the notebook that I used, and I knew every single character inside and out. My tiniest complaint, though, is there weren't enough female characters, I feel like. It was a lot of male characters with similar status. I do hope to see more female characters in future books. Fingers crossed, but I did grow to be really invested in their various storylines. So there's a god war brewing. It's almost like a conspiracy theory. There's a good god and a bad god, and someone is supposed to rise to represent each one. So for 600 pages, oh boy, you're trying to guess which one of these characters is the good guy and the bad guy. Along the way, you can perhaps make up your own mind as to who it is, but there are no concrete hints given. There are plenty of characters whom you don't know if you can trust, and all you can do is keep reading to find out. This in particular, among other things, was what I really loved the most. Like, the whole time you're reading this book, it's like,
don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious.
Now, obviously, being a fantasy lover, there's one thing that I always like to see, and that is magic. This is not overlooked in Malice. John Gwynne does, however, keep this to a minimum that really piqued my interest early on, and I was just waiting for a final colorful performance. So the magic is referred to as elemental, and the giants are still able to control it. The parts of elemental that I have been able to glimpse did prove to me to be new and fresh, and something that I hope to see kind of explored more as the series progresses. Obviously that's going to happen because it does play a big part in the story. I mean, it's epic fantasy that deserves its capitals. It might use existing tropes like good versus bad and a chosen one and a big war, but they all work more than well together. The major strength of Malice are the immense character cast. They are all neatly fleshed out and well developed, and John Gwynne actually takes his time to really let you get to know the major characters. Some books falter in terms of world building when the focus lies heavily on characters, but this is not the case here. Each storyline more or less takes place in a different environment, so by this you get to learn of the different places of the Banished Lands. It's so freaking fun and so interesting. Truly a story of epic proportions. Malice is a must-read for me. For you, I'm saying, because I've already read it. Also, it's freaking published by Orbit Books, and it's evidence to me, clearly proven, that they cannot publish a bad book. It's the truth. So I have since picked up book 2, which is called Valor. I did not even wait a day. I went straight into it, and I already have the inability to put it down. It's even better so far since everything has been established in the first book, and this is a 4-book series, and then there's a trilogy that takes place in the same world years later. So I have plenty of books in this world to binge, and I am thrilled about it. I also own all the books besides Wrath, which is the third one. I'm waiting to find it somewhere for a cheaper price because I just can't justify buying new books right now, so hopefully I can find a cheap copy of it because your girl's gonna need it soon. And that's going to be it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed. Are you proud of me as much as I am proud of myself for finally reading this freaking book? I apologize sincerely for constantly bringing it up in TBRs for the last 2 years saying I was going to read it, but it just felt like it wasn't the time, and finally it did. It was the same with The Sword of Kagan. I read that last month, and man, I am just on a roll. So be sure to subscribe. I upload videos every single week. Also follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at HollyHeartsBooks and on Twitter at HollyNiece. And until we meet again, happy reading.